All right, welcome to season 28 of the WNBA. This is going to be an historic season. We already know that the headlines are off the charts, off the chain. I just wanted to come on camera and say hey, and then we're going to talk about predictions, storylines, headlines, and things that we'll be talking about all season long. Hope y'all had a great spring. Let's jump into WNBA Summer Ball.
Turn that volume up. You know you want it. It's time for Women's Basketball TV with former NCAA champion, WNBA champion, business mogul, and national TV personality, Fran Harris. Let's get it.
All right, let's jump into the WNBA at 28. We got to start with the defending champs, the Las Vegas Aces, who entered elite territory by becoming repeat champions in 2023. And now they join the likes of the Houston Comets, who won the first 4 WNBA championships. They joined the likes and the ranks of the Los Angeles Sparks, who also repeated in the 2000s. The Las Vegas Aces are the favorite to win the WNBA championship in 2024. However, there are a couple of little rumblings. They did do well in the draft. They seem to get some pieces that fit their style. Fair out of Syracuse, Kate Martin, of course, out of Iowa. Both seem to be sliding right into the culture and to the style of play for the Las Vegas Aces. We know that they have an amazing team, and we can understand why most people think they will repeat this year. However, they do not necessarily have the services of Chelsea Gray. We don't know what's going to happen with that. The game the other night, Sydney Colson was a starter. A lot of people were even saying Sydney Colson should have been waived. I mean, some craziness out there. You don't mess up what's working, okay? Even if you don't understand it, some of y'all don't understand it. When you've been on a great team where there are players who are obviously your go-to players, you need players who accept their roles, revel in their roles, and make team culture better. That's it, Colson. And oh, by the way, I mean, she did win an NCAA championship. And oh, by the way, she is a WNBA champion. And oh, by the way, she's a very important part, was a very important part of last year's championship run. So you can't sleep on Sydney, on her skills on the court. But let's keep it a buck for a second. Chelsea Gray, top point guard in the W. They are different. They have a different look if Chelsea Gray does not play this season. So we're still waiting to see what happens there. As y'all will remember from last year, in the finals, when Chelsea Gray got hurt, the Las Vegas Aces didn't tell us anything. They didn't reveal anything. They never told the public what Chelsea Gray's injury was. They never said anything. I like that move. I love that move so much. I know that drove some of y'all crazy, but they really don't have to tell us anything. And they didn't. But let's keep it a buck. If Chelsea Gray is not in the lineup, we don't know how good Las Vegas is going to be without all WNBA MVP, Finals MVP. We don't know how good they're going to be without Chelsea Gray. So we got the jury is still out on that. Okay, Breanna Stewart heading over to the New York Liberty. Supposedly they became a super team when she got there. Jonquel Jones got there. They brought over some other great players. Benijah as well. I mean, seriously, a lot of great players. Supposed to be a super team. Did look so super at some points in the finals, but clearly that is a team that is looking for their first WNBA championship. They got all the pieces to get there again. And of course, let's talk about what everybody's talking about. Caitlin Clark, her first campaign in a WNBA Indiana Fever uniform. A lot of scuttlebutt about her coach, Chrissy Sides, criticizing her. And some of her fans, her devout fans, are losing their minds because they're like, how do you criticize the great second coming of Caitlin Clark? How do you do it? Well, as a coach, you got to coach people. Number one, it's bad for business if you don't coach superstars. It's very bad for business. And I mean internally in culture. It's very bad when a head coach or any coach is intimidated by the superstars on their team. Trust and believe it is very bad business. I have been on great teams all my life. High school, college at Texas, WNBA with the Houston Comets. And if a coach is not in complete charge of their team, it's bad for business. it's very bad for business. So while Christy Sides doesn't need to mess up what's going well for her team, she also has to recognize that culture will suffer if you if you do too much deferring to superstars on your team. However, let's keep it a whole buck again. Caitlin Clark is a rookie. She is transitioning. There is a learning curve. She needs to be coached. She also needs to be mentored. She also needs to be free to be who she is. You can't take away the greatness of Caitlin Clark, put it in a bottle, try to contain it. You have to let her be who she is. And at the same time, in the framework of your system, make sure that greatness has a place to grow and be nurtured. So Caitlin Clark, I expect a great season for her. If she is the Caitlin Clark that we saw at Iowa, she will likely be Rookie of the Year. So we all expect that. But there are some great rookies out there, some very hungry rookies out there. When I think about who's on those teams, I already talked about Kate Martin, Deasia Fair. Don't forget JC Shelton. I mean, there's some very, very hungry and feisty rookies out there. So it won't be a cakewalk for Caitlin Clark, but I do expect her to have a great season with the Indiana Fever. Sidebar for the Indiana Fever. Cause of cap, Indiana was kind of stuck in there for a moment, and lots of people thought that they might be sold, that they might be moved. Yeah, those were some of the conversations. When a team is bad, those kinds of conversations start to surface around the league. And I had talked to several people who were like, yeah, I'm kind of hearing that, Indiana, they may be looking to sell. However, when you get the number one pick and it's at the level of Caitlin Clark, I think all of those conversations are kind of squashed, at least for the time being. Moving on to other headlines. Charter flights. Haven't made the full transition yet, but charter flights are in the mix. Some of the teams are on charters now. Some of them are not. We will follow that closely. We will do a full investigation of what's happening with charter flights, but at least we're talking about it in season 28, rather. All right, expansion. Big on people's minds. WNBA expansion. The flurry of activity since the Final Four is astounding. Went from, we're looking at 10 teams who are likely to be expansion franchises in the next, 4 years, to 20. Everybody wants a WNBA team now. It's all right. Y'all know that I'm bringing the team to Austin, right? Y'all do know that, right? Okay, so we're working on that. Good stuff happening. Good stuff to report on that. We'll share some of that as appropriate as we move on through the season. But yeah, expansion is important. Expansion is not only important for the league, for players, it's important for the business of the W, right? It keeps it exciting. It keeps people guessing. It keeps the public interested and intrigued by what's happening in the W. And it's, again, good for business at the right time. And I think Kathy Engelbert has the right moves happening right now. Looking and you look at what the Golden State Warriors are doing. They dropped their trailer today for their team. Some of y'all don't understand that name. Oh, the comments. I am here for the comments on the Warriors' new name. I'm definitely giving them a shortened version of their name, right? I'm not going to tell you what it is. Go to their Instagram page and check out the Golden State Warriors' new name drop for their WNBA team. And let me know what you think about that. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. All right, so expansion, I'm all for it. 28th season, I'm all for it. 40-game schedule this year, all for it. Going to have a month-long break, as y'all know, for the Olympics in Paris. So a lot of fun stuff happening this year. As I mentioned, expansion is one of those conversations that the Olympics, the big thing about the Olympics, what's the big thing that y'all think about the Olympics? You know what it is. Who's going to make the team? Who's going to get that 12th spot? Will it be Caitlin Clark? Should it be Caitlin Clark? I think I should do a whole video on the whole Olympic process. What do y'all think? You want to hear about the Olympic process? Should it be Caitlin Clark? Does Caitlin Clark deserve to be on the Olympic team? And what does it mean to be deserving of an Olympic spot? Those last two spots on the Olympic team typically go to people, candidly, who are not going to play a whole lot, but then who will be on the following Olympic team and will play a whole lot, like, for instance, in 24, in 28. So typically those last two spots, maybe even sometimes those last four spots, are not, depending on who the coach is, are not going to log a lot of minutes on the Olympic team, on the USA national team. they're there to get the experience for PR, candidly, and for the being there the next time around. So I would take Caitlin Clark. I think there's some people who are deserving who've been in the USA system and all that good stuff, but from an experience standpoint, from a gives me something different standpoint, I would definitely take Caitlin Clark. Who else we got that can shoot 30 feet? I mean, seriously, who's shooting 30-foot jumpers besides Caitlin Clark? And she's the biggest basketball story in the world right now. Pick her, take her. I'm all for that. Do it. All right, let's move on. Where are we? Matchups tonight? What we got tonight? I think we got, let me look at my little thing real quickly. Yeah, we got the Liberty versus the Mystics. The Liberty versus the Mystics in my time zone, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock Eastern. I'm picking I don't know. The Liberty's got everybody back. Got a nice starting five. Benijah, Stewie, Courtney Sloot, John Cole Jones. Yeah, they got a nice starting five. The Liberty in a rebuild. I like the new look of the Liberty. No Elena Delle Donne. No Natasha. Cloud9 is in Phoenix. I like the new look of the Liberty. I mean, not the Liberty, the Mystics. I do. I like them a lot. I like they're fast. They have unconventional players in their system. They don't have a prototypical five. They've got Austin, who is amazing. Shakira Austin, who is an amazing young player still. Was out for a little bit, injured, but not prototypical. She runs the floor well. She moves well around the basket, got some great footwork, right? She's kind of a 4-5. She's not your typical bang on the box. Ariel Atkins. Y'all sleeping on my girl Ariel Atkins for some reason always. 7th year in the season. 7-year starter. Been starting since she got there as a rookie. Now more of a leader for this team, right? Yeah, I think the Mystics going to be nice. They needed, for me, the Mystics needed a rehaul. They were starting to feel very stale. They were starting to feel like there was no leadership, in my opinion. They were starting to feel like, I didn't enjoy watching them. It was difficult watching the Mystics last year. But now I'm excited by this new youthfulness that they have. I love what I'm saying with the Mystics. 2nd-year coach Tebow, he's more confident this season from what I'm seeing on the sidelines. Candidly, he looked like a fish out of water in his rookie season as a head coach. And I think it showed that was permeated throughout the organization. I think it showed. You could see the players not quite bought in. You could see him not quite as confident as he needed to be for a professional basketball team coach. But yeah, I like the retooling. I like the remix of the Mystics, and I think they will beat the Liberty tonight. The Lynx, one of our great coaches in Cheryl Reeve, coaching over there. Y'all remember from last year, the Minnesota Lynx lost the first 17 games, and then almost made it to the finals. That was crazy. That's great coaching. That's great culture, right? I'll give y'all some insights. A lot. If you ask people about Cheryl Reeve, some of them will say Cheryl's a little tough. Cheryl's a little crazy. These are not my words. These are the words from the people who played for her. But they also say Cheryl's a great coach. I think you got to be a little bit nuts to be a great coach. I mean, and I don't mean like a bad person. I just think there's something you're not built like a lot of people. The Fever versus the Sun. The reason I'm really intrigued by this matchup is because we know that the Sun has the reputation of being hard-nosed defenders. We know that Caitlin Clark is going to see long and wiry thrown at her. She's going to see small and quick. She's going to see brute force from probably Alyssa Thomas if she guards her. She's going to see probably the most diverse defensive strategy she's going to ever see in the league this summer. That's just the difference in the styles of teams. But I anticipate Kayla's going to be worn out tonight because we know how physical the Sun plays. We know how competitive they are. You know how much they felt like last year they should have gone maybe a little bit further in their goals. But this is a Sun team that I've always loved watching because they're so unconventional. Bonner, long on the wing, shooting 30-footers. I mean, if there's anybody in the league who can match Caitlin's range, it's DeWanna Bonner. So yeah, what do you guys think is going to happen? I'm picking the. I didn't actually give you my prediction for the other team when I talked about the Lynx. Did I even talk about the other? I didn't even talk about the Lynx game. I talked about Cheryl Reeve. So Lynx versus the Storm. As I've said in previous videos, let me go back here. The Storm, some of the great pickups in offseason in Nneka Ogwumike and Skylar Diggins-Smith. Great pickup. That's a great front line. That's a great three right there. It's a great big three with them and Jewel Lloyd. So I think it'll be an exciting game. I do see the Lynx coming out of that game on top. I haven't taken a look at the injury list for either of those teams, but if I'm just looking at them based on what I know about them and based on this being early in the season, the Storm kind of getting in the mix of new players, the Lynx kind of a little bit more settled in their lineups, I'm going with the Lynx for tonight's game. All right, moving on to the Fever versus the Sun. I said what I said earlier. Caitlin's going to see a lot of different defensive players thrown at her. The Sun, very physical. The Sun, very unorthodox in the way they do a lot of things, but also extremely effective in the way they do a lot of things. Stephanie White had a great rookie year as a coach last year and is a really good fit for that organization. So it'll be interesting to see what they do tonight. I will pick the Sun for this one as well. So those are your three matchups for tonight: Liberty versus Mystics. I'm picking the Liberty in that one, or did I say Mystics? Mystics earlier. I can change my mind, but I am going with the. Who am I going to go with? I don't know who I'm going to go with. You guys, who are you going with? All right, so I am picking with the Liberty and the Mystics. Let's do this. I may change my mind for that game. I'm going to go ahead and pick the Liberty. For the Lynx Storm, I'm going to select the Lynx. And for the Fever Sun, I'm going with the Sun. And of course, last but not least, the defending champion Las Vegas Aces faces the Diana Taurasi-led Phoenix Mercury. Hey, listen, that's gonna be fun. I mean, it's always everybody going after the defending champion, and there's no love lost between these West Coast rivals in the Mercury and the Aces. But check this out. The Aces have a little, they got a little chip on their shoulder because people don't think that they can defend their championship, or even start the season strong without Chelsea Gray. So they got a little that on their shoulders. They certainly they haven't forgotten what happened last season. Let's just put it that way. Even with speaking with Asia Wilson throughout the offseason, the person who didn't vote for her for MVP, she hasn't forgotten that. Becky Hammond hasn't forgotten that. The people who counted them out when Chelsea Gray went out, they haven't forgotten any of that. They're bringing that all into tonight's season opener versus the Phoenix Mercury. And let's talk about chips on their shoulders. Diana Taurasi had a lot to say about Caitlin Clark, but listen, Diana Taurasi is trying to prove to y'all who don't think she can still play that she is here for it all. She is here to ball out tonight. I may be 40. Is she 40 or 41 this year? I may be all of that. And for some of y'all, none of that. But I'm still here. Diana Taurasi, I have heard from insiders, looking good in training camp and is ready to play. And so this is going to be fun because Diana Taurasi is going to be Diana Taurasi. And it's everybody, if you've ever watched the Phoenix Mercury play against folks, they talk about how much trash Diana Taurasi talks. But after the game is over, that she's one of the nicest people you will ever talk to. She's real cool. My insiders have said, listen, Diana Taurasi talks so much shit during the game, end quote, that is legendary. Her trash talking game is legendary. So I'm going with the defending champs for this one. Aces on top of the Mercury, but let's have a good game tonight, y'all. What are your thoughts? Who do you think is going to come out on top in these 4 games in the season opener of season 28 for the W? We'll see you in the next one.
Thanks for tuning in to Women's Basketball TV with Fran Harris, the most provocative and entertaining women's basketball show on earth. Be sure to click that like, share and notification button so you don't miss a moment. We'll see you tomorrow.